Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to Avorion with LD7, and today we're going to be going over what to do first when you get inside of the barrier. So last time we opened up the gateway over here and crossed over the barrier through this wormhole. Since then, I went ahead and I've worked to like 3 sectors. So the first sector I went to, just a trading post and a couple of gates, not a big deal. The second one I went to had a claimable asteroid, which I did claim and build a copper mine due to demand, and that is kind of one of the first things you want to do. So these factions inside of the barrier, it's really good to have an excellent reputation standing with them if possible, and one of the good ways to do that is to go ahead and found a mine inside of their territory, because as they trade with you over time, that will slowly build up the reputation for you passively, so you don't actually have to go out, do any quests, and maybe in 20 hours or something like that, we'll have a good standing, excellent standing with this faction. So one of the first things you should be looking for is a claimable asteroid to build a mine with. Doesn't necessarily matter the type, as long as it's in demand inside of the region. The second thing that I've been focusing on is gathering up some of this Ogonite and searching for Avorion. Now, before I came across the barrier, since I upgraded my ship, I spent a lot of Xanian, so I'm actually kind of low on it. Once you get across the barrier, there's a lot more Xanian, and these massive Xanian asteroids are more common. So I've been just using my fighters to go ahead and mine up some Xanian and Ogonite for me as I go through the sectors, just so I can build up a little bit more resources so we can continue scaling. So that's kind of step 2, kind of search around, get some Ogonite, get some resources built back up, and kind of figure out where you might want to put some mining ships down, because you should have some, close to the barrier on the inside, right? Because that's where Ogonite's going to be most common. And then you also should have some closer to the center where Avorion is more common. So the next step after you kind of map out, get some resources, everything like that, you're going to want to find an equipment dock. Now, I haven't done this yet, I'm still looking for one, but whatever. We've got a targeted sector that I'm going to go to next. Hopefully they will have an equipment dock, because in order to actually mine Avorion, you need to have an Ogonite mining laser or better. So at this point, all of our mining lasers are Xanian level, so they won't actually be able to gather Avorion even if we come across it. So what we need to do is find an equipment dock so we can hopefully buy an Ogonite level mining turret. Doesn't necessarily matter if it's our mining or not. I mean, obviously I would prefer our mining just because I've got the cargo hold to do it, and then it'll be more efficient on the resource acquisition, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, you can use a regular mining laser, you just won't get as much out of the Avorion asteroids when you mine them if it's not an R mining. The other thing I'm going to be looking for is at least an Ogonite, if not an Avorion level R mining fighter, so I can replace out all these Xanian fighters that I've got with Avorion level. That way I can continue using my mining fighters to gather resources for me, so I don't actually have to have a mining laser on this ship. That is going to be a little bit more tricky, because we're probably going to have to get a lot farther in to the center of the galaxy to find them. And I mean, I really do want an Avorion level if I can help it, because I don't really want to have to upgrade the fighters twice, just because it costs so much resources and time to manufacture them inside of the ship. So that's kind of step 2, find some Ogonite turrets, fighters, whatever it may be, that can actually mine the Avorion. After that, you want to find actual Avorion asteroids to harvest so you can get Avorion. And what I would suggest, with the first 50 Avorion that you collect, put like this size, a 1x1x1 Avorion hyperspace core. So this guy right here, do that. It costs 250 Avorion. So you need to gather 250 Avorion. With that first 250, just put one of these little blocks on there. It doesn't matter the size, and that will allow you to jump over all of the rifts in space, so you won't have to worry about the gateway anymore, and it'll make navigating the galaxy so much easier for you. That is kind of the goal. Like, that's what I try to do as fast as possible when I get over the barrier, just because it makes life so much easier for you, and it really does speed up your gameplay. Outside of that, I mean, the rest is kind of just, map out the center of the galaxy, build up resources, credits, and kind of improve your ship. to prepare yourself for the final boss fight. Now, I'm only playing on normal difficulty, I want to say. Let's take a look. So, yeah, normal difficulty. So, the final boss, I'm not sure exactly what his stats are going to be, but I know on the harder difficulties, generally you need about 20 million shields and about 10 million hull to be able to handle it with just one ship. So, we're going to try to get our ship around, I don't know, maybe 20, if we get to 15-20 million shields, and then maybe like 5-6 million hull, like that will be sufficient for us, I think, to be able to handle the final boss, hopefully. When we get closer to that, we'll kind of cover what the stats are going to be, but basically once you cross the barrier, the game is more or less the same as it was before the barrier, only now you have better access to better resources and things like that. I do just want to look. Do they have... So coal or ore would be good here. Yeah, it doesn't look like platinum and gold and silver are all at the bottom. So we will probably do an ore mine, I guess, since it's a little bit higher up. How much? I probably don't have enough credits right now, but there is an asteroid in here, so I'll just add a note. Come back later. Cool. So yeah, I mean, basically what I'm just going to be kind of working my way closer into the center, kind of exploring out this faction and everything like that. Look for an equipment dock so I can get some Ogonite mining lasers, and then look for Avorion after that. So this episode, more or less, just kind of give you a general direction on what you should be focusing on once you cross the barrier. I mean, it pretty much is the same. You know, you always want to expand your fleet, your stations, your credit, resource generation, increase your Omicron, your shields, all that noise. That way you can, you know, beat the game. So we will come back next time, most likely once we find some Ogonite lasers and, you know, find our first Avorion, just so we can kind of talk about the hyperspace core and everything. But if you enjoyed this series thus far, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always, and until next time, this has been LD7, and we will see ya.